Hi, good morning. Happy Sunday everyone. It's 10:02 a.m. Maraming salamat for joining us, no? Good morning sa inyong lahat. Alam ko it's a Sunday morning, ang sarap humiga, ang sarap matulog. But you're here with us, no? I hope you're still on bed resting and watching with us. But before we start, before I introduce our guest today, let me first greet all our viewers, no? Si Lilibeth, magandang umaga sa iyo. Jenny, good morning, no? Miss Flores, Felicidad Flores, magandang umaga sa iyo. ST Loder, wow, nice name. Good morning, hello. Yes, magandang umaga. Eta, good morning to you. Judith, Daniela, good morning. Mean, good morning to you. Josette, good morning. Carcy, good morning to everyone. Happy Sunday. Have you had your breakfast? I hope you had your breakfast already. Well, today we're going to have a very engaging discussion again. Okay? Ang guest natin is EdTech coordinator in one of the exclusive schools here in Metro Manila. He also has a program, no, on his Facebook show na nagfe-feature din siya ng mga international guests. Okay. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest today, Mr. Jim Toscano. Good morning to you, Jim. Magandang umaga sa iyo.
Good morning, Jeff.
Yes,
Uh,
oo.
Good morning to all our viewers there. So it's a Sunday.
Oo, yes.
Enjoy your
So,
Sunday.
si Jim is also has this program called Empower Ed, no? So, siguro Jim, kwentuhan mo pa kami. Give us more about yourself. Tell us more about yourself.
Yeah. I'm Jim. Jeff mentioned about Empower Ed. But first, before talking about Empower Ed, I'm a teacher, deep in my heart. I come from a long line, a family of teachers. My mother is a public school teacher. My
Wow.
sisters, they're public school teachers. My titas, actually,
Mm-hmm.
in one where my mother teaches in a high school, in public high school in Abra. So I was born and raised in Abra. So I'm an Ilocano. So good morning to our Ilocano viewers out there. Um, and my mom's school, punong-puno ng tita ko. Kung hindi tita, kaibigan ng nanay ko, parents ko. So there, I've never planned to be a teacher.
Uh-huh.
Siguro from grade school, I wanted to become an astronaut, the
Wow.
usual. And
Uh,
then when I saw X-Men, I wanted to become a genetic engineer, try to manipulate people's genes. Uh, that was so, ngayon, bad pala yun. And then, of course, just to tell everyone, I went to the seminary because I was attracted to the idea of priesthood. And then I went out. I took philosophy in Ateneo, and
uh,
then after that, I don't know. The only thing that was open kasi when I graduated was a teaching position in Xavier School. So
uh,
there, that's why I'm the department chair right now of the Christian Life Education. But I also handle the EdTech program in the grade school. So there, um, I founded Empower Ed. It's basically just a personal education advocacy. It's not a business. Um, Empower Ed really stemmed from my how do you call that, exposure. In 2017, I became the first Filipino to represent the Philippines for the Global Teacher Prize. They gather the best 50 teachers around the world, and then the winner for every year gets a $1 million prize. So
wow.
every year, I don't know if you this year it was Brother Peter Tabichi, the Franciscan monk. I don't know if you saw
Mm-hmm.
his video on YouTube. He won this year the $1 million. So every year, so I take pride in that. So I was the first Filipino to be nominated. They dub it
Wow.
as like the Nobel Prize for teaching
For
profession.
teachers.
So it was such an honor. But then it sort of was just the beginning for me
Mm-hmm.
because I never got any teaching recognition in the Philippines. Only from Xavier, outstanding teacher, and that. So I saw the work of my fellow finalists over the years, and I wanted to build on the idea of celebrating the Filipino teacher, because no one speaks about the Filipino teacher. It's like there's not much people, not many talk about the life story of the teacher, right? It's like
Yes,
the
true.
most noble profession, but then I think it's because my exposure with policymakers out there, that I came
Uh-huh.
to realize that, in my long exposure to the education system, my mother is a
Uh-huh.
teacher, until now 20 plus years now, and then I'm a teacher. I feel like the idea that we are teachers have the most noble profession, the policies of the government, the
Oh,
I mean a lot of things never really make it that concrete. So I
yes.
founded Empower Ed to, of course, I'm not also turning my eye away from the idea that, we have a lot of things to improve on in
Yes.
our education system. So it's like an internal reflection that I wanted to elevate the teaching profession, not alone, but
Yes.
by the work of everyone. So, and then celebrate the Filipino teacher. So it's transforming, it's elevating, it's celebrating. So
Okay.
Empower Ed is simply like that. It started a year ago, around
Mhm.
September, and but even before that, I've done some work in collaboration with the Department of Education, with other schools, just to simply bring out what's new. Of course, Jeff, you would understand that what's new for a lot of people, even before me, was technology,
Right,
right?
right.
We're always playing catch up because
Okay.
the Global Teacher Prize community is a community that is composed of a lot of great teachers, and the one who's backing that up is a big
Foundation.
foundation based in London. So I get to travel every year in Dubai or Abu Dhabi,
Mhm.
and just to get exposed to let myself get exposed. And like Jeff, right now you're working a lot on education. That's why I
Yes.
appreciate people like you, Jeff, because I'm a teacher, and we need a lot of these kinds of support,
Yeah,
for
salamat.
all. Yeah, yeah. So thank you, Jeff, for this.
And salamat din sa'yo, Jim, no? Jim, question lang about this, what you call the global prize?
Global Teacher Prize.
Global Teacher Prize. Regardless of the subject matter, hindi siya kailangan pang edtech, hindi siya, it doesn't matter, no?
It doesn't matter. However, they're focusing on K to 12. I think
Ah, I see.
that's their like the focus. It's K to 12, but regardless, whatever modality of education also, like
Mm-hmm.
whether it's online or the
Oh,
alternative learning system, you go to their places. It doesn't really matter
oo.
as long as you have created an impact in the community. I think that's what retrospect. That's what I want to focus on right now, because there are different things like innovation. You present your innovation,
Yes.
how you transform your evidence. Of course, students and teachers backing you up, your
Oo.
principal. So Savior School was very, very supportive of me during that
Galing.
time. So
Oh.
I'm just so happy with Savior School that they have been on board, even with Empower Ed. So yeah, Jeff, you're a father of a Savior yan.
Yes. Oo.
but yeah, I'm just so happy because when I had Empower Ed was meant to be a face-to-face training. We had our first
Oo.
face-to-face conference a year ago, and Savior School, through Father Ari's support and Miss Jane Cacacho's support, they offered the venue. So I was able
Ah.
to gather for the first time only. It's just a small one, around
Oo.
200 teachers,
Wow.
and it was a free conference, and of course I had people who were supporting me, so there.
Yes.
Yeah, but Global Teacher Prize, Jeff, it's something I want to plug in because I am an
Yes,
ambassador
please.
for the community.
Yes.
um while the pandemic is happening right now, we still haven't crowned, because my students told me before, it's like Miss Universe though for global, for teachers. That's how they described it.
Oo.
But for 2020, because it's usually March that we have that, but
Okay.
the foundation decided to move it on October because October is the month of teachers.
Uh-huh.
Um, but because of the pandemic, we're very much waiting for it. But the 2020 winner will be announced on October, hopefully. I don't know how it will
Wow.
happen. But then after that, around November, the next 2021 cycle
Uh-huh.
of the Global Teacher Prize will commence in. So I'm going to take this opportunity. If you know someone who has making a teacher who's been making a difference in the life of students, or if you're a student or a parent, or a teacher, someone who's making a difference as a teacher, nominate. The website is globalteacherprize.org.
Hmm.
So it's legit. It's legit. The $1 million prize. It's not a scheme. It's not a legitimate scheme. It's actually real, and it makes a difference. 2 years ago, we had one Filipino who got into top 10,
Wow. Oo, sana
one step
malapit na.
closer. Yeah,
Sana
it's
malapit na.
yeah. So don't worry. Also for those people asking, kailangan ba na may prize na kami? Like the Metro Bank Awards or the
Oo.
Batubalani, the big ones in the Philippines. Well, from my experience, the only prize that I had was the Xavier School's Outstanding Teacher Prize. So doesn't really matter. Yeah,
Oo. So, good, no? Salamat. Thanks for telling us about this, what do you call this? Global Teacher
Teacher
Prize, no?
Prize.
Teacher Prize. So, anyway, going to teaching with technology, before going on air, sabi ko kay Jim, alam mo, napansin ko, which, he agreed naman, no? Na sabi ko halos lahat, teaching teachers how to use technology. Pero recently, parang naramdaman ko na lahat na lang, everyone's teaching about, Google Classroom, etc. Although we still have that, no? We do that. In fact, this coming itong Saturday and next succeeding Saturdays, we have this Google Classroom, no? Pero I think what we're missing on is the fact that, you know, uh, this pandemic, this remote learning goes beyond what do you call this? Goes beyond technology, no?
Yeah,
So although topic natin ngayon is learning with technology, may iba pang aspects, no? About technology. We also have to educate, the parents, no? The school, the students, and the teacher themselves, no? So your thoughts, Jim, no?
yeah.
Let's talk about siguro what can we learn with learning with technology, not just specifically with technology. So your thoughts?
Yeah, Jeff, I think that's a wonderful observation, and I really agree with you. I am a tech advocate. I mean, I as a teacher, I think, and my expertise is really on edtech, but I started to anchor myself in edtech in terms of school leadership and
Mm-hmm.
curriculum instruction assessment. I'm part of the Apple Distinguished Educators community. So it's Apple. It's if you heard about Google Certified Educator, if you've heard about Microsoft Educators,
Uh-huh.
Apple has its own. We're celebrating our 25th year of being formed as a community of educators. What we do actually is people don't know much about it because usually they think that Apple is too exclusive.
Yes.
Uh, but Apple has been celebrating teachers who are, creating pathways of innovations in technology innovation. And this is what I appreciated with Apple. We're not asked to sell Apple, but we're supposed to sell innovation in education. Sell.
Okay.
So that's what I've learned also from Apple, because we never talk about the devices. I mean, I don't know if you've heard, Jeff, of the I'm sure you heard about WWDC, right? The Worldwide Developers
Yeah.
Conference of Apple.
Yes, yes.
We have
Uh-huh.
our own Apple Distinguished Educators Institute, like every year. This time around July, I should have been somewhere around the world. We're supposed to go to California. Sayang.
Sayang.
Yeah, but what we wanted to talk about there is not really about the tech. We've never talked about the iPad. Of course, we get to use those things, but in the end, we are reminded that in the end, it's not about tool, because tech tool change, right? You
Yes,
have to learn
agree.
it, but then in the end, we have to anchor learning to the basic or core principles of education. And for a
Yes.
school, you have to anchor it in your vision, mission, or goal or objectives as a school community. So one thing that I've really seen right now is, and it's okay that teachers are learning ICT skills, because
Yes.
that is one thing also that we need to help our teachers learn, right?
True. Yes, yes.
And whether it's private or public, it's the same story. Teachers have got to learn how to use technology in the classroom. But the usual observation that I have, and because I think it's how we deliver the message also, I think it's very very important. If you want to push online learning, I think what happened was the way we delivered the message. People got stuck with the idea of online learning, that they forgot that there are other modalities for distance education.
Yes.
So therefore, all trainings were geared towards, how to use this,
Technology.
how to use that. Yes, and then, I'm basing from my observation also with two important documents. Number one, it's the OECD, the Organization for Economic Development, OECD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cooperation.
EDC.
OECD.
Uh,
I've encountered I've met the general director of this one. OECD is like a first world country thing. They're the
mm-hmm.
one behind PISA, the
Mm.
test that we took part in.
Yeah.
We're not a member of OECD, but we took part, and the literacy issue came out because we are ranked, far behind. Diba? Like a year ago, that
Yeah.
was the challenge. Yeah, where I've met the education director, Andrea Schleicher, and he presented one study, and the study says, why technology is not working, why is it
Oh,
failing,
interesting.
and this study, it's far interesting, Jeff, because this study is even quoted against the use of technology, very
Okay.
much quoted and used against. But the study really is telling us that, why technology is not making a difference. It's because teachers who are using technology, one of the reasons na ha,
Yeah.
not the whole of it, they're using technology to drive 20th century pedagogy. So traditional
Okay.
teaching plus technology does not really make an impact. Of course, you also have the other reasons that students are not prepared to learn with
Yes.
technology, right? Parents are not prepared. And then if you look at the list of technology, of activities with technology, it's sending email, it's uploading material.
Yeah.
The clerical work that is usually done was just digitized, and
Yes.
that did not make a difference at all. So don't expect. That's one reason. And second, March, at the first months of the pandemic, I co-wrote a report to UNESCO with other international teachers that I've known, one from Canada, Belgium, and Australia. We wrote a report to inform UNESCO and Education International about what's happening in the pandemic, in the education K to 12. And one of the things that we've gotten there is ICT. There's a gap again because
Mm-mm.
teachers are not prepared to teach with ICT in distance learning
Uh,
mode. Students are not even prepared. Like, for example, kinder. How do you expect a kinder to
exactly.
learn if you have not prepared the parents or kids? It's
Yeah.
not bad. It's not bad at all. It's just
Mm.
that there should be a preparation time. So
Correct.
because there was a rapid transition, because school closures came
Yeah.
so quick, like sarado
Abrupt.
na. There's no, I think the term really is rapid transition. It
Mm-mm.
was so quick that no it even teachers felt very bad about it, just to be honest. When I interviewed, they felt that they could have done better. Like,
Yeah.
we interviewed teachers from the United States, Canada, because we have a different calendar, right? So
Yes.
very different effect. They think that they thought that they could have, and believe actually that they could have done better. It's just that there was not much time and preparation. So Jeff, right now,
Yeah.
that's what we're trying. We're not being pessimistic.
Yes. Yes.
It's just that, based on experience, we have
We have
that
that gap, eh?
gap again. And
Yes.
hopefully, more edtech experts. I think that's what we need to clarify. You can
Oh.
be an edtech expert, but you need to tell people that your workshop is just for the use of how to. You have to
Yes.
direct people, that also tell them that, this tech will not make an impact if your pedagogy is traditional, right? You
Correct.
have to tell them that maybe we need to improve the way we do assessment, the way we teach, right? Kasi
Right.
parang maybe it's just online lecture that you're
Right.
doing. Didn't make a difference at all.
So it's just like you have your test paper, in-scan mo siya, okay? In-email mo siya, it's the same thing. But it's
Yeah,
at the end of the day, it's the same assessment style na gagawin mo, no?
yeah.
Parang ganon, no?
Wh-
So dun sa framework na nabasa ko, yung Samir framework ni Ruben Puentedura, something
Pentadura,
like that.
it's
Yeah.
the
So it's just
SAMR.
yes. So it's just the letter S, which is just the substitute, right?
Um, I have a comment of SAMR.
Sige, please. I want to
It
hear this.
I think as a starting point for framework for technology, it's okay.
Okay.
However, my caution there is to look at technology first before the learning activity. Because
Yeah,
if you look at
okay.
this AMR, if you don't fully understand it, or I don't know, face value,
Yeah.
it talks about how tech is used.
Yes,
It's
yes.
technology centered. What
Oo.
my idea is before we talk about tech, maybe we could create or use a framework where it says identify your learning goal, what you want to happen, and then you align tech with it. So face
Okay.
value, I don't know if because it's okay to substitute a tech as long
Oo.
as your activity is a higher order thinking activity. For example,
So,
instead of asking
so
them to
you
write an
parang,
essay,
oo.
it's instant, di ba? Essay writing. Essay
Right.
writing, if you ask them to write a persuasive speech, for example, write their own,
Okay.
and you bring a context, that's higher order thinking skill. But they're
Mm-hmm.
writing. However, by virtue
Okay.
of SAMR, you now give them a laptop. It's still substitute, but if you look at SAMR, it sorts of give you a message. I substitute lang siya. You get
Okay.
it,
Yes, yes, yes.
right?
So
So
parang you still anchor it on like, for example, Bloom's taxonomy. So nandun yun eh. Ano yung gagawin natin sa dulo? And then higher
yes,
order
yes.
thinking. And then let's just use technology so that we can produce something
Mm,
na mas mataas yung goal natin rather than
yes,
seeing it at on its face value. Parang ganon.
yes. So
Oo.
SAMR it's okay. That's how I
Mhm.
started to do it also. After that, I also like if you wanna be more critical about it. The rookie mistake is a lot of teachers, and hopefully right now this is what you're not supposed to do. Do not design your lesson around an application that you are excited to use or that you are happy about. Do
Oo.
not design. I remember this is my favorite example, Instagram.
Oo.
A few years ago, Instagram was a hit, right?
Yes, yes.
And then, I know some teachers who would give time to let's make an Instagram dictionary, instant dictionary. I don't know how they call it. Kids are spending time just to create a visual of a word so that they give cues of on the meaning of the words. I mean, like, if your idea is word and meaning, and kids are familiar with it, why not use a simple dictionary,
Yes,
right? And
yes,
then
yes.
maybe some
Oh.
flashcards. The idea before was that it took the students much time because they have to learn it. Instagram is social media.
No.
I mean, like, we need to align everything well so that it's effective and efficient. I think that's the
Yes.
basic idea. And like what you've
I
said,
agree.
always look at your learning goals, your learning outcomes. Technology should support it, should enable it, but it's not the other way around. So you don't design a
Yes.
lesson around an application, right?
Correct, correct.
So yeah,
So parang sinabi mo, okay, I have a screwdriver, I'm an expert in screwdriver, I'll build a house around a screw using the screwdriver alone.
yeah, which you cannot.
'Di ba? So it's
Oo.
really again the design first, your objective, and then what tools can help you achieve your
Yeah.
objective, 'di ba? Ito may
Yes. Yes.
magandang question dito eh. Oh. So I'm sure you can answer this. I'm really curious with EdTech kasi naging ano daw siya yung naging coordinator ng school, no? Ito yung context ito. Ano ba talaga ang role nito? Yan. What's the role of
You're
EdTech?
well. That needs to be nuanced because I remember before, like Xavier, internationally overseas, there has been like an edtech coach, edtech coordinator, edtech facilitator. And then
Mm.
in the Philippines, you have not heard, like even in the Department of Education, the idea of an edtech unit, it's something new. I
Mm-hmm.
remember before, my principal and I, my school, Xavier School, was like, Jim, Jim, maybe you can start to coach people, like what other people are doing it in international schools, for example.
Yeah.
And even in the United States, like public school, they already have the idea of instructional coach. So they have edtech coach. So the idea of edtech right now is not just to become a trainer to how to use technology. I think that's one skill that you need to have. However, you need to bridge the teacher with the complexities of ICT, right?
Mm.
I'm pretty sure you have ICT personnel, but
Mm.
I love my the ICT staff personnel because they're an expert. I do not claim that I am an expert of what they do. Instead, I would say my expertise is to bridge their ICT expertise with the situation and language of a teacher. So that's an
Mm.
edtech person. So it's like, ano ba yung favorite motto ko noon? Like when I used the term edtech coach for the first time and people were like, do you have a varsity? Because you're a coach. I tell them that I don't have a varsity, but I take pride in coaching teachers on how to design and implement lessons with instruction with technology. So my favorite motto is, as an edtech coach, I will not fix your laptop. I will not help you
Ah.
connect with the Wi-Fi, but I will help you transform your lesson with technology.
Yun.
Right?
Okay.
So
Tama.
yun. That's the basic premise of becoming an edtech coordinator. Of course, but work nag-iiba. There are some schools who says, we don't have much budget, so we cannot
Mm-hmm.
have two personnel. So we want you to be trained with the ICT stuff. So you will work on the systems and everything, but you need to
Yeah.
communicate this and train teachers. So you need to change your language, like teacher language, not ICT. Because I remember before I was in front and I was like, oh my God, I don't understand what they're saying because it's too complicated. It's not the language of the classroom.
Yes.
Diba? So, yun.
So parang as edtech coach or coordinator, so you have to know the foundation still is the technique. Okay? The technology is still a tool. When I say technique, this is
Mm.
your pedagogical techniques, no?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
The foundation, the education foundation,
Mm.
and again, the technology is just the tool,
Yes.
right?
And of course, Jeff, I think it's what I've really noticed and observed, and what I've been really telling, because I also help other schools to build their edtech program. It's always good that the edtech person who's in charge is someone who knows what's happening in the classroom,
Okay.
right? Kasi the pedagogical expertise is not a theory based on theory, but it's based on your experience also. So
Yeah.
it's very
True. I agree.
important that they have, yeah, an expertise on that. So I love when you see teachers, diba, subject teachers pushing the agenda of edtech because they have experienced it in their classroom,
Correct. Oo.
right? So that's good.
Okay. So Jim, punta naman tayo. Itong pinag-usapan natin kanina is all about what teachers can learn from technology or how to effectively use technology. Now let's go to the parents. Kasi malaking aspect ng success ng school year natin, malaking role ng parents ngayon dito. So what can or what should parents learn about learning with technology this year? Ano bang role ng parents ngayon for parents who are busy and for parents who have time to to guide their children?
Jeff, that's a it's a big question,
Oo.
and we need to unpack it because, of course, what I've really learned right now at the pandemic is there should be a stronger parents homeschool partnership
Yes.
more than ever. More than ever. I was making a joke with my friends who are parents now.
Oo.
Sabi ko, before, as if this is personal only, doesn't
Yeah.
reflect any or the
Yes.
school. It
Oo,
was
yeah.
my personal joke because they were my friends. And I told them, kung ako yung teacher na anak nyo, I will forgive you if you don't show up in PTC. Right? Because there
Oo,
was an
oo.
expectation. Because parents are, this students are in front of me the whole time. So they sort of like trust me And
Yes.
sure, we don't come for PTC now because we know our kids are doing good with you. But right now, if you say that, I will not be a good teacher to you. I mean, I told that as a friend, but what I'm telling them
Yeah.
basically was that we need you more than ever, right?
True. I
Because
agree.
we can just do as much. We don't want education to stop because can you imagine a society where there is, they've been saying
Wala.
maybe can we do academic freeze? I was like,
Ah.
that's a very maybe not an academic freeze. We can wait
Mhm.
for a longer time so that we can prepare, but it's really hard to freeze everyone.
True.
Like because you're freezing a sector of the society. And it's not
Big
just a
sector.
certain sector. There's a
Oh.
lot, di ba? A lot of
Yes.
connected sectors with it. And you know what would happen to our kids, right? For 1 year, nothing.
Oh.
It's really hard. So I one of the things that we can look at in terms of parent support is of there support and guidance. Number one, this is very ideal, and I'm open to corrections or whatever.
Yeah,
Okay
yeah.
lang sa akin. I'm very open because I also share. I am not a parent yet, but I do share. Like my sister is a parent.
Yeah.
She has a baby also. She has to work also. It makes it difficult for working parents
Right.
to do that, especially when they have to go out. The example was what if they are essential workers,
Right, right, right.
and they have to go out. Are we expecting people to help them at home if there's no help at home? Who's gonna help them? Like
Right.
I mean the kids. So my the first thing that I want to do is to always make sure that for parents it's always good to have a dialogue with the school
Mm-hmm.
because
True.
flexibility could be something that can be worked on. But
Uh-huh.
right now, what's happening right now, it's the first time that we're doing this. Distance learning actually calls for a lot of flexibility and adaptability.
Right.
I think the one thing that we want to do right now is not to always compare distance learning with face to face because they're basically different animals. It's like orange and apples, apple
Yes.
comparison. So we need to make some adjustment on that for parents. Of course, ensure maybe talk to the school flexibility options, and then in the end, if you are game up for distance learning, like it goes beyond preparing a space. This is your study nook. I want you to
Yes.
have a schedule. Di ba? Sense of normalcy. That's very, very
Yes.
important. Psychologically for kids, they have to make sure we need to make sure that they have a sense of normalcy. So the
Right.
schedule helps. Of course, we have schedule from school, but then in the end, if they really need help from parents, maybe you can ask dialogue with the school. Is there a possibility that you can be flexible? My kid does not know how to operate the computer. I will teach him or her, but it will take some time, right?
Right. Oh.
That kind of thing. Um, in distance learning, there's not in distance learning there and adaptive learning. We always say that asynchronous activities should
Right.
be higher in rate than synchronous. Because what it will make it difficult for a lot of younger students is going online,
Ah.
right? Although there's also attention because younger kids do not know how to read or write yet
True. Yes.
for kinder. So they have to rely on visual. So that's why some schools will say, okay, but we can do a little bit of online, but you have to
Mm.
schedule it well. It's easier said than done.
Yes. Yes.
It's really difficult. But if of course if we cannot force it also. Like parents, you are working whole day and then you come home in the afternoon. Maybe you can set a study time in the afternoon or once you come home, right? That's something that you could do. The Department of Education has decreased substantially the number of competencies. A lot of
Ah.
schools,
Yes.
my school, for example, in Xavier School, we have undergone two level of curriculum audit just to make sure that what is being taught at this academic year, COVID year, is the most essential, the most relevant skills. So
Yes.
that kind of mindset. But then in the end, it's a dynamic. It's a dynamic, Jeff. You have to make sure that you have a dialogue with the school, and that
Uh.
the school is having a dialogue also with the parents. The basic
Yeah.
premise is what will be the best for the kid.
Oo.
I mean,
True.
again, it's easier said than
Yeah.
done.
Oo.
Uh, you will not have
There's
an answer in instant, right? You
yes.
have to go back and forth.
There's going to be a steep learning curve. Eh.
Yes, yes,
I'm
you're
sure of
correct.
that, no? So, I get, well, my next question is yung how to prepare everyone's mindset, no? For this,
Mm,
since bago ito. But before that, I was hoping, you mentioned kasi na what is truly essential, no? So, I'm not sure, I haven't seen, no? But sabi ko nga nung nag-usap kami ng wife ko kasi more than well, wala kami maids so at home, no. So sabi ko sana pahabain nila yung home economics para para the kids will, because we're all at home.
yeah.
So, home economics is going to be very important now, no? Yun nga, well, it's just a thought, no? Napag-usapan lang namin. But, well, as part of essentials, I guess, and I think that, malaking bagay na tulong na rin yan for everyone. But anyway, so, how do we prepare the mindset of everyone? What should the mindset be, no? For school admin, for parents, for teachers, and for students.
Um, a lot of things. Number one, flexibility and adaptability.
Yeah.
We don't. I mean, it's something that we should have right now. If you look at World Economic Forum, it's actually one of the top skills to be
Mm.
thriving in the fourth industrial revolution society.
Yes.
Because in the end, whatever we learn in the classroom or even in life, we need to make sure that we keep on learning. Like
Yes.
things are not permanent right now, so we need to make sure that we are open to new learnings. We bring that in the context of the pandemic. New things will be happening, new
Mm.
things will come out. We can be very, very prepared as much as we want, right?
Uh-huh.
As much as we can. But then I'll bring in the idea of growth mindset. Growth mindset
Yes.
reminds us that, grit, perseverance. You're not doing this just because you're lucky. You're not doing this because you're talented. You're doing this because you want to pursue something. And if our passion, quote unquote, it's our dedication right now is to ensure learning, better learning or good learning at this time of the pandemic, then we persevere at that kind of mentality right now that whatever mistake will come out along the way. Oh, the school overseen this. Was not able to prepare for this. They prepared, but there were hiccups. Okay lang.
Oo.
Because we will need to learn from our mistake. Or the student is not really doing well because he's adjusting. And the parents are adjusting also, especially for the first few weeks. We can always say that it's okay. We need to
Yep.
give time for everyone. Like what you said, Jeff, the learning curve. It's very steep, right? But we need to make sure that we are very much open to each other's, learning time,
Yeah.
adjustment
Learn.
time.
Yes.
Um, I think I don't know, but we always have this kind of mentality kasi in our society. We need to be perfect all the time.
Yes. Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, there's a difference between being the best and being perfect. Yeah, you can
Perfect.
be the best version of yourself, but I will always say, I think I'm in the best version of myself, but I will not say that I'm perfect,
Correct.
right?
I
Because I still
agree. I
have to
fully
learn.
agree. Oo.
Being the best version is a process more than an end. So even right
Tama.
now, I hope we have that kind of mentality because with or without pandemic, the idea of perfection has been really something that has been pushing us further. That is something good because we're
Oo.
advancing ourselves. But too much focus on perfection has actually been very not helpful to a lot of students, right?
Oo. I
I also
agree.
experienced that kind of mindset that bakit instead of like, oh, 9 over 10, people would say, bakit may isang mistake? Diba? Things like that. And
Oh, yes.
that kind of message actually makes it difficult for some kids to adjust. So I think like what you're saying, what we're trying to point out is
Correct.
holistic formation, holistic learning. It's not just the academic anymore. Social emotional. I think one of the things that why we're pushing out for flexibility and adaptability as a mindset also is, what we learn might not be what's useful in the future because the future
Oo.
is uncertain. It's
Oo.
ambiguous. The voca,
Yes. The VUCA.
volatile, yeah,
Yeah.
things like that.
Uncertain. Yeah.
And one of the main main things that have been told in the global community that I have is, these kinds of essential skills: flexibility, adaptability, openness, empathy. I
Yeah,
think that's one thing that we need to have right now. We need to empathize with one another. At some point,
correct.
we need to make decisions. It could be some decisions will be very, very difficult. But then, in a way, what the pandemic has told us is that we cannot have everything,
Yeah, oo.
right? There should be an
True.
exchange, trade
Tama.
off, as they would say. Life naman is always, made of trade
Yeah.
off.
Totoo.
Uh,
I agree, no? Tama, no? I guess in addition, personally, we have to be more forgiving because number one, tama yung sinabi mo, it's working towards your best self, not to be perfect. No, I mean not
yeah,
really to come out as perfect ito kagad, but really the effort that we bring into what's happening right now to be able to adapt, to be able to yung effort na ibibigay natin para at least makahabol or makasunod with what's happening right now, no? And of course to be forgiving. May question dito, Jim, no? Again from Jenny. Sir, saan po kaya maaaring makakuha ng resources about empowering learning edtech? Any suggestions now on page, website? Of course, no? Sa Empower Ed, she can follow you on Empower Ed, no?
yeah. So you can follow me on Empower Ed. There's a lot of website. There's a lot of webinar. I'm also hosting some webinars there. I could also refer you to. I have been partnering with Rex Bookstore. Also, I've created a team that speaks we on weekends on the Facebook page of Rex for online distance learning and blended learning series. But then it's just a matter of googling, right? Uh,
Yes.
just type in the word edtech resources. You will have a plethora of edtech.
Tons.
And dami, and dami. So I think this it's she's the same person who asked
Who
about
became?
edtech.
Yes.
So I think the first step that you need to do is go online, right? I think
Oo.
what's happening right now, this is one thing that I also want everyone to do. Google, it's free to Google stuff. So you go online. As teachers, it's important also to tell ourselves that we learned. But for Bibe, I think her name is Bibe. You can go online, but of course, Empower Ed, ISTE, International Society of Technology Education. It's like the big community of EdTech. So ISTE, DepEd Commons, the Department of Education, has also an EdTech unit. So you can search them up, Department of Education EdTech unit. Common Sense, Common Sense Media, so commonsense.org. What else? EdSearch. You have that.
Mhm.
Edutopia. I love Edutopia because it's not just
Yeah, I
about
love Edutopia. Oo, favorite
right.
ko yan.
Yeah, it's not just
Ah,
about tech. So it's a more holistic. So just remind yourself that when you speak about edtech, it's not just the tool, right? It's
yes.
it's a holistic way of looking at edtech.
So it's being the teacher and having the tools to implement your goals as teachers, no? Parang ganun siya. Well, I think the challenge with this naman, with having a range of articles online, is really choosing. So, yan nga, yun na-mention ni Jim, ang favorite ko dyan is Edutopia. Napakaraming ano dyan. It's funded by Lucas Foundation, yung George Lucas Foundation. So, anyway, Jim, before we end, no, we're nearing the end of the program. So, before we end the program, I'll ask lang the viewers if you have questions. This is the best time to ask Jim. You may ask Jim. No, we'll be happy to answer all your questions. But before we end, siguro, Jim. So, I guess, what's your message as Jim and as Empower Ed?
As Jim and Empower Ed, I try to always the empower. I hope that the Empower Ed, what do you call that, reflects my own vision my own vision as an educator, as an individual. Um, my message to everyone is, of course, collaboration. Collaboration is the key at this time of the pandemic. We might have school leaders, we might have leaders making decisions for us, but we need to remind ourselves that the solution to all the challenges that we have right now is not on the hands of one person. I think this has been something that we want to share to everyone. The solution is actually on the hands, on the collaboration, school leaders, teachers, students, and even parents. It's the school community. That's why I always admire local government units who are partnering with the local Department of Education or communities or schools. I think what's gonna happen right now is we want to have more partnerships,
Yes.
collaboration in a smaller scale, but in the bigger scale, partnership. We need to make sure that we are very much open. But I always remind everyone, we need to forge partnership, but we need to maintain that the partnership respects the autonomy of the school as an institution. Right? We need to be very careful with that.
True.
But I'm pretty sure you understand what I mean. But again, collaboration is very, very important right now. As a community, as a society, as a nation, that's one thing. Of course, it's easier said than done because we will have our own, agenda or biases. But hopefully, our own agenda right now is to make sure that learning happens well for the
Yeah.
kid. It's always in every decision that we make, the student, the learner, the child should be always at the center. Okay, that's what education is for. The learner should be at the center. Second, please join me in celebrating the Filipino teacher. The
Yes.
Filipino teacher is the hidden frontliner.
True.
We get to see a lot of frontliners right now, but in other countries, teachers have become the frontliners in education, whether online, whether distance, whether however modality, whatever modality that is being used, teachers are really the frontliners. In our country, they are starting to become the front. We are teachers will become
Yeah.
the new frontliners, so we celebrate their work. Um, and of course, in the end, we need to make sure that we keep ourselves safe and healthy. Right now, the
Yes.
pandemic, this is not a vision that I've been working on, but it's a reminder to everyone. So that means, don't be too hard on yourself. Educators, school leaders, I know that there are some school leaders who are not sleeping and they need to make some decisions. And it makes sense right now to also tell ourselves, whether we're parents, also, this is something that you could also tell yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. Cut yourself some slack. Growth mindset, right?
Correct.
Growth mindset. We need to give our own selves, our students, our teachers some space, wiggle room, diba, to adjust. And then if failure or mistakes, not failure, the usual failure, but if mistakes come along the way, then let's just be open to learning from it. Like what you said, Jeff.
Yes.
You push it further. Let's be more forgiving.
Yes.
Ako nga, let's be more understanding. Let's practice
Yes.
empathy. Jeff, push
Tama.
it further. Let's be more forgiving. You know, so there. Yun lang. That's empower ed. Then I think hopefully that reflects my own sentiments also as a teacher right now.
Okay. Jim, maraming salamat. Siguro for my last question. Um, I think 100% of teachers, many of them really focused on machine learning, technology. What are they missing, or what should they focus on aside from this technology learning? Para lang, just to remind them.
Yeah. Again, I always see technology as a tool. So tools can change overnight, right? Ang daling magpalit ng technology. Of course, there are some technology that will stay longer for a longer time.
Yeah.
But then in the end, I always, hopefully, this is something that we don't forget, that the tools are meant for learning. And when we say learning, it's not just, exercise of the brain. We look at holistic learning. So
Yes.
whatever tool that you use, don't forget that the student is a person. It's a person who does not only need academic training, but also a training development of the character, spiritual if you want to add on,
Yes.
social emotional learning. Right now, technology is being pushed out there, but a lot of educators are also saying that our students are not products themselves, so we need to
Mhm.
teach them digital citizenship, the importance of privacy, things like that. So it's a whole gamut of technology tool out there, but we don't forget that when we engage with our students, the
Mhm.
learner is a person, and we want to make sure that the formation, the development is holistic. It's not just an academic aspect, but in totality, right? In totality.
Yes.
So there. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yes, Jim, maraming salamat. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation. You deserve that Global Teacher Prize, Jim. I pray that one day you'll be back there and win that Global Teacher Prize. And lilibre mo lang ako sa McDonald's dyan sa kanto. Anyway, Jim, maraming salamat. Thank you very much. I hope we can do this again. Maganda ng
Yes, yes.
conversation. We learned so much from you. I hope the other teachers learned. I'm sure they learned also and a lot. Okay, Jim, with that, thank you very much. Maraming salamat sa iyo sa uulitin.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you,
You're
everyone. Have
welcome.
a blessed Sunday.
All right, so that was Mr. Jim Toscano. Maraming salamat again for watching. Thank you very much. And any more messages, comments? What did you get today? Ako, I learned a lot from Jim. Again, we may be learning a lot of this technology, importante yan, but these are just tools. Hindi naman binababa ko siya as just tools, but these are important tools, but these tools should be anchored on your goals as teachers. No? So, by the way, we'll be having our Google Classroom this coming, Google Docs pala, this coming July 11, and then on the 18th, that will be our Google Slides and then Google Forms on the 25th. So yon, please do join us. We have some more slots for those trainings, and included doon is how you will learn it effectively. Not just the technology part of it, but the technique part of it as well. All right? So expect more technique trainings from us, like communication for teachers, like new assessment. No, we also added more trainings in our Kay Husay page. No? So do visit us, visit Kay Husay website. All right, so have a happy Sunday.